Pep Talk UK, Pro Bs once again. Remember, subscribe. And I'm delighted to be joined once again with the man himself, Two Tanks, Mr. Ohara Davies. How are you?
What up? Yeah, I'm good. Just woke up, got ready. Now I'm getting ready to go to the gym. I'm gonna go do a little workout at the local fitness gym.
All right, you know, when you win the golden contract, you can just take your time, you know, your days, man, and just stroll out when you want to, man.
It's what it's about, man. I worked hard, so now I can enjoy all the fruits of my labor, I guess.
That's it, man. Still holding that briefcase, man. You know? So look, the main reason why, you know, I thought I'd kind of contact you was your good friend Anthony Yarde last night was involved in a close fight against Arfa and didn't get the decision. You watched the fight. How do you think it went?
I think it was a really close fight. I watched it intensely. I think it was a really close fight. Arfa had a very good game plan. Anthony Yarde had a very good game plan. And I feel like in boxing, it's the styles that make fights. And that's what we saw last night. I reckon it was a very close fight. The fight could have gone either way. And yeah, they're both great contenders. Anthony Yarde lost, but it's not like he got beat by someone that can't fight. Arfa's class. I've boxed with him over at the GB over in Sheffield a few years ago. So I've always known that Arfa was good. But Arfa just hasn't got that recognition yet as a pro. So that's why people are looking at Yarde thinking, you got beat by this guy. He's not even known. But Arfa's not known, but he's a very good contender. And, you know, yeah.
I think I remember quite a while back, Buatsi was telling me that he was on GB with Arfa and he said Arfa's good. This is a while ago. So probably slept on in the mainstream, but, you know, to the guys in the know behind the scenes, they know that, you know, he's a good fighter.
Exactly.
So look, have you had the chance to talk to Anthony at all? Obviously, he's disappointed, and you lot are mates. Any conversations so far? Words of encouragement, etc.
I spoke to Anthony a few hours ago. I'm going to keep the convo private, but you know, I spoke to him a few hours ago. But I feel like at times like this, Anthony had a very, very, very hard year, losing his dad. He's lost about 3 or 4 members of his family this year alone, and then to lose against Arfa just to end off the year is like, come on, like, can the year get any more worse, kind of thing. That's how you feel when you're in that sort of situation that he's in. And I feel like this is times when you need your real friends around you, times when you need your true friends around you. Whenever Andy fights and he wins, I don't text him when he wins. Like, come on, after you win, I'm just like, I'm so happy for him. I just want him just to enjoy life. Go out, eat your burgers, eat your food, be around your mom and your family and your sisters, and live your best life. And I contacted him a few days after he wins. That's when we speak, really. But after you lose is when your real friends have to be there straight away. So after the Kovalev fight, I sent him a text straight away. After the fight last night, I sent him a text straight away. And I'm going to go and see him in a few hours if he's free, because this is a very hard time for him. And a lot of boxing fans online are giving him stick. They're writing bad things about him, negative things about him, commenting bad things. And boxing fans are not considerate. They're real inconsiderate. They're not thinking about this guy just had like the hardest year of his life, possibly. Give him a break. Give him a break. Yeah, so I spoke to him. So, but this is a time like this where you need your real friends around you. It's what I learned after I fought Taylor, and after I fought Catterall. It's when I needed my true friends around me, and that's when you need your true friends, people that are like your family around you when things don't go right.
You mentioned, you know, the loss of Josh Taylor and Catterall. I mean, you yourself, you faced adversity in your career, and I suppose, you know, you could obviously lend that, you know, that hand of support to, you know, your good mate in Anthony Yarde, and obviously advise him on, you know, how to deal with things.
100%. But I feel like Anthony knows how to handle these things. It's ain't the first time that he's had a hard year. I feel like this is the first time in a long time that he's had a bad year, because since Anthony's term as a pro, his boxing career has just gone up even after he lost the first fight, Kovalev, he didn't fall backwards. He fell forward. So even then, he was still going up, 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 up. So this is like the first time in a while that he's had a bad year. So it will feel kind of new for him. But he's had hard years in his life. Before he turned pro, he knows how to handle these things. I don't need to tell him how to handle a loss. I just got to be there for him. That's it. We ain't got. I don't have to advise them or say do this, do that. No, you just got to be there, keep him company, have fun, do what you do, and then naturally, it'll just get better as time goes on. Naturally.
And again, it's not about the losses. It's about who you fought and who you've lost to. Now, talking to yourself, you lost to a good fighter in Catterall and also a class fighter in Josh Taylor. No shame in that at all. You know,
when I fought Taylor, there was shame in it back then because people didn't know that he was as good as he is. Back then, Taylor, he was nothing but a Commonwealth champion. The same thing as Arfa. Arfa ain't nothing now but a Commonwealth champion. That's what people see him as. The same thing about Taylor. People didn't think he was going to become a unified world champ. So back then, people were like, you got beat by this guy. Right? So only now that he's world champion, people are like, okay, now that loss weren't really that bad. So people see Anthony's loss as a bad loss because Arthur is not known. But if Arthur gets far in boxing, then they'll be like, okay, cool, that loss weren't that bad. And also, there's a rematch clause, I believe, in the thing. So if Anthony takes that rematch clause, I believe it's the fight that Anthony could win easily. Anthony could have won last night easily. So if there's another fight, Anthony's going to put his foot on the gas from a lot earlier and get him out of there. Because Anthony could have got him out of there last night. He could have got him out of there. If he wanted to get him out of there, he could have got him out of there. But Anthony being in the fight, he felt like he was up on points by far. I believe Anthony felt like he was up on points by so far. He didn't feel like he really had to get him out of there. But if he knew that he was down on the scorecards or that the scorecards were a bit even, he would have put his foot on the gas and got Arthur out of there. Because Arthur only had one hand. Arthur can't hit that hard. But Anthony felt like he was up on points by so far. He felt like, okay, cool, I won the fight. But mate, he could have got him out of there. I know Anthony, and I know what he can do on this day and the power he's got. There ain't no one that can match Anthony hard when he's determined to get you out of there. There ain't no one that can match him.
Would you say that it's very subjective when it goes to the scorecards? We all know that, right? Now, I've seen fights in the past before where how Lyndon Arthur was boxing last night, that fighter didn't get the decision. You know, I've seen sometimes the judges, they look for the guy potentially, you know, pushing the fight, all right? Rather than the guy that's, you know, doing the slip work. For me, I think a fight that comes to mind for me was Hughie Fury versus Joseph Parker. A couple years back, I thought Hughie Fury was obviously doing the same thing in terms of boxing slip behind the jab, you know, using the ring and staying out of harm's way, all right? Sweet science, some might say. But then Joseph Parker, again, who was seen as the aggressor by the judges, right, got the decision. So really it's about, I don't know, who the judges are on the day. And, you know, it's a lottery.
It's about the judges. It's about what they score. Some judges like it, like some judges were like Arthur style. Arthur, he was hitting them with more jabs. They weren't hard shots. He didn't hurt Anthony Yarde at any time in the fight, but he was throwing more jabs. He was catching Anthony with more shots than Anthony was catching him with. So that's what a certain judge might like. A certain judge might like the fact that Anthony fought. Anthony hit him with a lot more hard shots. He nearly got Arthur out of there a few times. He was hitting him with a good left hook. I think it was around 7, another hard shot around 8, and Arthur looked hurt a few times in that fight. So another judge might see that and be like, Anthony was on the front foot the whole fight, and he was hitting him with the more eye-catching, harder shots. Therefore, that judge might think Anthony won, and he might score that fight towards Anthony. So it's all about what judge likes what. And that's why I say that fight, it was an even fight. It was a 50-50 fight. It could have gone either way. It just depends on who was the judge.
Because we had one of the judges that had it, I think, 117 to 112.
Yeah, Ian John Lewis had it 117 to 111.
Yeah, and maybe that was based upon maybe aggression, moving forward, pushing the fight. And then you have two other judges that obviously are looking at something different. I know, kind of in relates to you utilizing the jab. I know in the fight against Catterall, you said a lot that, you know, you felt you won that fight because you were landing with the jab. You know, your jab was sweet on the night. That's what you were saying. So it's kind of ironic that I'm talking to you right now because it's, you know, that's what's happened effectively. You know, Lyndon Arfa's utilized a good jab throughout the fight. So you can kind of see that angle as well then, potentially.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, we need a rematch, I believe, and Yarde will get him out of there in a rematch.
Okay. And in terms of obviously Tunde, you know, I haven't had a chance to speak to Tunde yet, but have you had a chance to speak to Tunde yet about it?
I haven't spoken to Tunde about it yet, no. But I've been seeing what he's been putting out on social media. He just like, we're just getting right back to work, and they should just get right back to work. Make a few changes, fix what needs to be fixed. But a lot of people are now getting at Tunde saying he's not a good coach. He needs to be sacked right in the yard. I'm like, Tunde's never been liked. People just don't like him because he's outspoken. He's an outspoken character. And all these characters are good for boxing, but as soon as you're a little bit outspoken and your fighter doesn't win, all of a sudden, sack the coach. No, it's not sack the coach. Tunde and Anthony Yarde are a team, and I feel like Anthony Yarde ain't gonna be the same around another coach.
You know
maybe bring another person in and get a bit more, and get another input, get a bit more experience. Maybe get another person in. But mate, Tunde ain't going nowhere. Tunde and Anthony Yarde are a team, and without Tunde, Anthony Yarde might not be the same fighter as he is. So Tunde needs to stay on board and maybe just get another person in to give more insight.
Do you feel like, in terms of like the negativity, that this is just boxing? Because I know when Buatsi had his fight against Kalic, you know, there were people in the boxing forums talking about Buatsi as well, you know, and also comparing him to Anthony Yarde, saying, well, Anthony Yarde would be the favorite. You know, I saw that online. So every fight, you know, potentially after it, there can be some form of stick and question marks, etc. It's part and parcel of the game, right?
Boxing fans, they don't know what they're talking about, man. 1 second they love him, the next second they hate him. These boxing fans, you're only as good as your last fight. Oh, he didn't fight a good fight, so therefore if you fight him, he'll get knocked out. Oh, that guy didn't fight a good fight, so now he'll get knocked out. Like, come on. Boxing fans don't understand boxing like they should. Understand that in boxing, styles make fights. Don't judge everyone off of how they fought in their last fight. I fought Taylor, everyone said, I'm a quitter. Quitters never win. Well, I won the golden contract, didn't I? What do you guys say? Quitters don't win? This quitter did fucking win, and he's going to continue winning. But these boxing fans, they don't know. They judge you of your last fight, and they feel like every fight is going to be the same as you fought in your last fight. Like they're quite dumb. They're quite thick. They're like kids. Like, come on, have a better understanding of how boxing works. That's why I don't listen to these fans. Like, on my social media, when they say stuff, I don't listen. Like, they say good stuff or bad stuff. I don't listen to them, because one's got this opinion, another's got that opinion. Another thing that should do this. Another thing that should do that. They've all got their own opinions. Like, these boxing fans, mate, they don't know shit about boxing. Like, as Floyd would say, and as Roger would say.
Right, as Roger Mayweather would say, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Look, is there an argument to say, like, in conclusion, that light heavyweight division domestically and at world level is stacked, and none of these fighters are gonna retire undefeated, right? It's the quality from these shores all the way through to world level. When you've got the likes of Batavia at the top and Bivol, right? You've got Pascal, who can still bang. Sean Pascal, right? Marcus Brown. There's a whole Badu Jack who won the other day, right? It's an argument to say that no one's getting out of this without taking the L.
100%. 100%. Like, everyone wants to be Floyd. Everyone wants to be unbeaten, bro. Like, you got beat, innit? Like, we're not Floyd, but we don't need to be Floyd. We can be the first version of ourselves. And I feel like a lot of us, me, Anthony Yarde, other fighters, we all look up to Floyd, and we all try to imitate Floyd, and we do it well. But one thing we're not unbeaten. We ain't got that record that he has. Then again, Floyd has lost as an amateur in the Olympics. He got a silver, didn't he? Though he has lost. He just didn't lose in the pros. He had so much amateur boxing. He had so much amateur boxing experience. Where I had 18 fights as an amateur, and he only had 12 fights as an amateur. So we're learning in the pros, where other fighters, Floyd, other greats, they got to learn all their lessons as an amateur, and they did take L's. So we ain't got the unbeaten record in the pros, but mate, we are successful in our own way, and we're going to continue to be successful. But that Floyd effect, a lot of fighters I'm not saying everyone because I can't speak into them, but a lot of fighters are going to take L's. It's just boxing. Boxing is more competitive now than it was back then as well, because now everyone's doing it now. Back then, there wasn't everyone doing boxing. Nowadays, boxing can make you famous, can make you rich, and is now a very famous sport, a lot more famous now than it was back then. So now so now everyone's on it. It's a lot more contenders now than there was back then.
Lastly, what would you say to the haters, given your good mate Anthony Yarde stick? I mean, what is your message to them before we close?
Listen, it don't matter what I say to them. It's not going to change. They're going to keep on being themselves. They're boxing, Twitter, internet, Instagram, Facebook trolls. That's what they are. 35-year-old man sat in a box room, like, with no breakfast in a fucking cupboard and just a bottle of milk in the fridge. Like, they ain't got no lives. They are negative people, and their negative response to things like this is what's given them a negative life. And they've got negative lives, so they find people that are more successful than them, and they just go online and they just like to hate. They're like little flies you see, sometimes you're at home and you get a little fly flying around. It don't matter how much you told that fly, stop flying around. It's gonna keep on flying around, getting on your nerves. So you just have to ignore them and understand that's what they are. They're just negative people that have no life. Ignore them. If you can't ignore them, then you're in the wrong game. But you've got to have thick skin. Understand, boxing fans are just waste mans. Not all boxing fans, most boxing fans are just waste mans that ain't got no life. And just feel sorry for them. Don't take to heart what they say. Just feel sorry for them.
All right. Words from the man with the golden briefcase, man. That's how I call it. All right. Ohara, it's been a pleasure, man. Thanks for your time, man.
Thank you, bro.
Pet Talk, subscribe. Thank you. Cheers.